What's up, guys? This is TiensiNoAkuma here with my first ever Xin Zhao game. This is the exact day when Xin Zhao got his remake. Unfortunately, the new Champ Zero has not been released, but this game isn't really too interesting or whatever. It's kind of like a pub stomp at the moment. Even though this is 2300 ELO, this game actually got me up to 2400. But this is a first impression video, so here we go. Hope you guys enjoy it. So basically, let me explain what was changed on Xin Zhao if you guys don't know. Most players do know what happened, but this is basically what happened. They gave Xin Zhao a new passive. His original passive was he would gain HP every third hit, and that amount of HP that he gained would increase based on the level that he was currently at. By the way, I cannot leash for Lee Sin, so as you can see here, Graves is the one leashing for him. Anyways, whoa, my bad, that was weird. Okay, so that was Skype. Anyways, so what they changed was his passive. They got rid of that passive, and they made it so you have this thing called challenge. That's his new passive, and he attacks one target, and that one target gets challenged and has their armor reduced by 15% for 3 seconds, and you can only target one player at a time. So it's whoever you're attacking. You always you'll notice that whenever I attack something, there's a little floaty thingy right above it, and that means I'm challenging that specific target. This becomes really important later in the game. It isn't just for extra damage; it's also for your ultimate, which I'll explain later. Anyways, as you can see, I'm playing Xin Zhao mid. I wanted to go top, but someone called top, and I said I might as well go mid. It's not really that big of a deal. I don't understand why people always stick to the meta where they're like, oh, if you're a melee carry, you have to go top. If you're a magic DPS, you have to go mid. No, you should never just follow the meta. Always try to do something that's not normally done. If you do that, anyways, if you do that, you're able to catch people off guard, and you'll be able to just do things that people don't see coming and have that to your advantage. That's what happened for me with Kat. People didn't really know how to handle Kat when she wasn't popular. Now she's really popular. I don't know why, but she's getting spammed so much now. But when people didn't know how to handle Katarina because she wasn't a normally played champion, it was pretty easy for me to get Elo from that because it would be easy for me to kill people. Anyways, so next thing, his Q has not been changed. It's the same. Whenever you get extra damage for 3 hits, and on the 3rd hit you knock someone up. What they did change for the Q is that it now scales with AD, which is exactly what Xin Zhao needed. The problem with Xin Zhao was that he falls off late game because he has absolutely no scaling. So they gave his Q a scaling, 1.1 scaling. And then his W originally was you would gain passive attack speed for leveling it up. And when you activated it, you got double that attack speed that you got passively. And on top of that, whenever you attacked something while your W was being cast, your skills would all go off cooldown for 1 second for every single hit that you did. Anyways, but they changed it so that they basically put his old passive to W. So W's new passive is he heals himself for every 3rd basic attack. As you can see here, there's a little AP ratio, so now it scales off AP, which is kind of strange, but I don't think if it scaled off AD that would be a good idea. That would really make him overpowered if he could scale his W. Anyways, so now his W has a new passive, and the original passive is still the same. Whenever you attack someone, when you cast it, you get double the attack speed. That's still the same, but he loses that 1 second cooldown reduction for every single hit. That cooldown reduction goes to his Q now. So basically, whenever you cast your Q, you get damage. You get 1 second CD off every single time you hit with that Q, and then you pop them up. So that's the new Q. As for E is basically the same. They up the damage, they up the slow timer, and I think they also up the scaling, I think, but it still scales with AP, which is fine in my opinion. My opinion is if they made anything else scale with AD, it would definitely make him overpowered. Either if you made him scale with W, his sustain would be ridiculous in jungle in addition to in lane. That would be OP. And if you scaled with his E, his damage burst would be ridiculous. As you can see here, whenever I'm trading with Orianna, you notice that I'm not going in for a kill. I'm just going in to trade to harass her. And when I do, I completely destroy her. Here we go, watch this. He's gonna feed them double buff. That was really sad. Anyways, okay. So watch me do a quick exchange with Orianna, and you can see just how much damage I deal, even though my E does magic damage. I'm not, yeah. See, look at that. Look at that. More than half her HP. More than half of her, she basically needed to get hit about 2-3 more times, and she would have died just from that one combo. Imagine if E scaled with AD. That means it would apply his passive. His passive 15% armor reduction would make it even stronger. And on top of that, if it's scaled with AD, it would hit even harder. So that would definitely make it overpowered. If you looked at my damage output right there, it was ridiculous. Take note that I did pick up 1 kill and 1 assist from Nautilus and Orianna earlier, so that really put me ahead. And I was a level up on Orianna, so that's why she took so much more damage than normal. So you can't really say he's OP. As for let me finish explaining his skills, and then I'll explain why he is not OP. So his E is still the same, like I said. By the way, cooldowns have also changed as well. W cooldown was decreased, I think. Q cooldown now scales as well, so it decreases as well. And his E cooldown decreases even further. The cooldown, I think, at max was about 12 seconds. Now it's 9 seconds. And that means that's amazing for Xin Zhao. I always max his E first because of that extra cooldown. And so all I have to do is go in, E them, Q, get that cooldown off with my Q. And by the time I finish my Q and just walk a little bit longer, my E is going to be up again. And if I'm also maxing E, that increases my slow and also increases my damage output with the E. So basically, I'm going to be able to cast E twice. That's how I killed Orianna just now. If you saw me E her twice and destroy her, absolutely destroy her. That was because I maxed E first for the extra damage output and extra CD reduction. Now, his ult now basically has been modified, so it's similar to Janna's ultimate. So what it does is you do the same thing. You spin in a circle, you deal 15% of the enemy's current HP, but now it scales with AD. So now it actually can scale into late game, and it's a viable skill to have. But on top of that, they gave it a Janna ult. And what I mean by that is, if you cast it, and if you cast it in a group circle, this is so dumb. I was so mad at this point. I was like, oh really? My E was up, but I was out of range and I couldn't kill her, so I got killed by her ignite and creep. Anyways, so how it works is, for every single non-challenge champion that gets hit by your ult as Xin Zhao, they get knocked back. Basically, I think the range is about the same as the Janna ult, I think, is about the same range as Xin Zhao's knockback ult now. So, but if they are challenged, as you can see there, when I went in on Orianna, my ult didn't knock her back. It just did damage as it normally did. And so because of that, you can modify his ult, and it's really extremely awesome. That sounded really immature, but it really is amazing that you can pull off so many amazing stunts that was really nice. Just with his ult, like you can completely disengage your fight just like Janna would, just by ulting, or you can isolate an enemy champion with your E and knock back every single enemy champion with your ult and force them to fight you for a little bit without any help from your enemies. And also on top of that, it gives him an excellent escape after level 6. So a problem with Xin Zhao top, not only was the old problem was that he didn't deal any damage, another problem was that he had absolutely no escapes. And in this kind of game where there's a jungler, and junglers like to be extremely aggressive, that's why you see Shaco jungles, Alistar jungles. Even though they don't jungle so well, their ganks are amazing. So ganks are really important in this game, and especially in high elo. So with that, you need really good escaping potential in order to... I was so mad. Like, I had wards here and I had a ward here, but Nautilus was camping in the lane and I got killed. Anyways, now he has an escape with his ult, so that's amazing, and now he's extremely, extremely viable now. I will not be surprised if I see him in a tournament. The next tournament, I would not be surprised to see him be played. Another tidbit, I actually do main Xin Zhao. He is my second main on top of Katarina. The reason why you don't see me play him much is because he was not viable before. Now he's completely viable. That's why I have 6 games with him right now, and I've won every single one of those games in ranked. It's ridiculous. Like, I jumped from 2300 to 2400 in one day, and that was today when Xin Zhao got changed. And basically almost every single game was with Xin Zhao. Anyways, so this was, oh yeah, I come into lane and try to gank, but it didn't work out. So now, the reason why Xin Zhao is not overpowered is because of how structured he is, how he's structured. You, as Xin Zhao, you have absolutely no choice but to build AD now. You have to build AD. You can't build AP. I mean, like, great, you build AP, and your E scales off and your W scales off. Great, but you deal absolutely no damage. I mean, you can go with attack speed on him, but in the end, the most important thing for Xin Zhao is his attack speed. And if you can cut that off, then you can completely annihilate Xin Zhao. And that's his weakness. His weakness is that he relies on basic attacks. And with that, in that sense, because he relies on basic attacks, he's vulnerable to attack speed reductions. So in this case, almost every, with a lot of the champions they've been adding, a lot of them have attack speed reductions. For example, Lee Sin, even though he does fall off a little bit late game, he can completely destroy Xin Zhao if he's able to get his attack speed slow on him. A lot of champions have a bunch of attack speed slow. And not only that, you can buy a Randuin's, you can buy a Frozen Heart, and that won't completely shut down Xin Zhao. That's exactly what's supposed to happen. Like, if a champion gets completely shut down by an item, that's kind of dumb. That's not really fair. And what Randuin's and Frozen Heart does is just reduces his damage output and becomes a lot weaker. And that's how you counter Xin Zhao. He's like, the reason why people say he's OP right now isn't because of his new ult. See, look at how the minions got knocked back. Anyways, isn't because of his damage output, but primarily, isn't because of his ult, but it's because of his damage output, his ridiculous damage output now. Is the main reason why people saying he's OP, and just by reducing that damage output, he won't be OP anymore. And like I said, just build Randuin's, get a Frozen Heart against him, and he won't be too big of an issue as he was before. But he still is ridiculous, and I would not be surprised to see some number changes, a few nerfs here and there on him. Like, I would not be surprised, and I do think some numbers do need to be changed, but not to the point where he's overpowered with his damage output. This is necessary. This is what he needs, and the reason why I'm dealing so much damage in the first place is because of also my skill build order. My skill order, as I can see here, I have 5 points in E and 3 points in Q. I max my E, then my Q, then my W. That reduces your sustainability in lane because you're not maxing your W, and also your attack speed is greatly reduced because you're not maxing W. But the trait for that is that I get to cast my E 2 times whenever I'm fighting someone, and my Q hits like a truck. And if I'm lucky, if a fight goes on long enough, I can cast my E 3 times in a fight and my Q 2 times. And that's what's making me so powerful right now. If you can look at the CS right now, I'm even with everyone else, even though I was getting denied early game by the range ability of Orianna. No, freaking Nollis keeps camping me. I do not know if he went to any other. That was hilarious. Orianna just ulted me into her second killer. Notice how I jumped onto a minion so I can get away. I think I would have been fine. He doesn't have red buff, but yeah. Either way, pro plays. Anyways. So yeah, that's my build order, and that's why I hit so freaking hard. As for item builds, everyone's always asking me what my item build is. I like to get a... Can I pull up the item shop? I can't. Whatever. I'll just say what my items are.